I'm a 29-year-old female, and I'm currently undergoing the process of donating my breast milk to a milk bank. I held a BBQ to celebrate my oldest child's birthday, young child, and invited just about the whole neighborhood with kids her age. As the adults started talking together, one of the main topics was the formula shortage. My second child is no longer interested in breastfeeding, as he's been enlightened to solid fruits now. I told everyone that I was very concerned for the NICUs, pediatric ICUs, since I worked with them not too long ago. So I figured that since I'm still lactating and have an abundance of breast milk left over, I decided I would try and donate to them. Well, one of my neighbors, Sally, just recently had a baby. She started hinting that formula's hard to come by and so expensive to order now that she's going through the drastic measures of ordering foreign products from Asia and Europe. She said that she's spending at least $600 a month to feed her baby, and how she would have been so grateful if she had a third of my production. We all laughed because we thought it was a joke, and then the conversation changed. So today I received a text from Sally asking if I could give her a few of my breast milk bags since she's low on formula and couldn't get more until the end of the week. I then told her exactly this. "Hey Sally, I'm sorry, but I don't feel comfortable giving your child my breast milk as it's the equivalent of giving your child blood, and I'm still going through the process of getting it health screened." I thought it was a good response, but she texted back that I was a monster and a witch for letting her child starve. She then told me that she would report me to the authorities for child abuse against her and threaten CPS on my kids because I only cared about myself. I showed my husband these texts, and he got very upset, saying that we needed to contact the authorities, or a lawyer at least. I don't want her kid to starve, but I really don't feel comfortable just handing out my breast milk, especially with all the health cursors and such. Am I the idiot here? I'd love to see that report for CPS. My neighbor's abusing my child by not providing it with breast milk. Arrest her, even though she's in no way responsible for the health and well-being of my child. You get to decide what to do with your body, your milk. You are not the idiot. My God, it was a pretty bold move, considering the entire reason the interaction was happening in the first place was I'm having a hard time feeding my kid. Food insecurity, irrational lashing out, and a willingness to BS social services to achieve personally favorable outcomes, and you're involving CPS? Talk about calling an airstrike on your position. Holy cow. Sally's threats, though, are likely enough to get an order of no contact, so at a minimum, OP should speak to an attorney. She also needs to show this text exchange to a few others at the event. Sally may not file false police reports, but at the very least, she's likely to go around trashing OP with a fake story about OP promising her milk or OP somehow taking formula from her. Best to stay ahead of it all. Imagine if her kid got sick. If she's this entitled and volatile, she'd completely throw the book at you and blame you for anything wrong with her kid. Also, if you started, she'd insist that you kept pumping for her. I can even see an instance where she'd ask you for free babysitting, since you can feed her kid so easily. If you had wanted to offer, that's one thing, but asking, not right. And her response, nuclear. There's no legal case here. Also, your neighbor is crackers. Donated breast milk goes through screenings and is prioritized to preemies because their stomachs can't handle formula at all. I feel for Sally, but she seems to be able to afford the formula and have a healthy full-term baby. She may even be able to provoke late lactation if she consults a lactation specialist to help her. Kudos for donating to a NICU. Those babies need as much help as they can get. I cut my father off after turning 18 because he had an affair with another woman, broke mine and my mom's heart, and then insisted on taking parenting time with me after the divorce and tried to shove his wife and her kids down my throat. Of course, I wanted nothing to do with any of that after I found out, but he insisted we were family. His wife's kids were very young, so they saw me as their big sister, and I know from other people that they ask about me a lot and have missed me, though I can't say the same. My father's wife is pregnant, and recently, she lost both of her parents. Again, I only know about this through other people. My father reached out and asked me to come to help with the family. His wife's pregnancy is dangerous, and the kids are scared of losing their mom and miss me badly, and their grandparents just died. He wanted me to go to the house, make sure his wife was okay, and spend some time with her kids. So I blocked his number when he called to ask me that. I didn't even say anything. I just ended the call and blocked the number. Apparently she got worse because my father showed up at my mom's and confronted me about abandoning my family and not caring at all about innocent kids who had been through a lot and who loved me because they were so little and saw me as their sister. He told me hating him isn't going to change anything, and I'm throwing away the chance at a fantastic family because I'm bitter and selfish. He said he would do anything to help me, and I won't do the same for him or them. One of his family members, who I was still in touch with, also said that they thought I was wrong. They said that they get being angry about the affair, but it shouldn't end my relationship with my father, and it shouldn't mean I miss out on having siblings. That at the very least I could be a comfort to the kids right now if I go over to help. I think they never said that before it got stuck in my head. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You didn't ask for these siblings, and they came into a bad situation. Not your fault. If your dad thought cheating would lead to sunshine and rainbows, oh boy, he needs to grow up a lot. Screw the lot of them, to be honest. It's a simple response. Dad says, "I'd do anything to help you." And you say, "Okay, what have you done for me? For just me?" When was the last time you sacrificed your happiness and contentment and made yourself uncomfortable for me in the last few years? When even was the last time you made an effort for me? Exactly. So I don't think I'll invest exactly that much back in you and your family. Then walk away and tell his other family members if they're concerned, they can go show up for him. Ignore the poor kids are innocent. They don't deserve this crap. You're innocent too. Where was this "but the children" mentality when you were the child who would be hurt? Spend time with the kids? Sounds like be our unpaid babysitter to me. And why do people think that if someone refuses to know half or step siblings are missing out? I have a half-sister I've never met, and I don't feel I missed out. My nearly adult son, I'm going to call him Ryan, is an athlete. Ever since he was little, he would constantly be doing a sport. Ryan is good at sports and loves being an athlete, but his father, my ex, won't let him pursue any other interest. When Ryan was a kid, he expressed to us many times that he wanted to play the guitar, paint, and do sports as well, but my ex ridiculed him for the art stuff. I tried explaining to Ryan that he's allowed to like whatever, but the damage was done. Or so I thought. My son played me a song on the guitar for my birthday a couple of months ago and told me that a stepsister on his dad's side taught him. I also got an email from one of my son's teachers asking me if I could talk to Ryan about entering some art competition because she genuinely believes he has a shot at winning. I was stunned but so proud of him and told him as much. Sadly, his father was unaware of how talented and brilliant our son truly is until this previous weekend. It was my granddaughter's birthday, and we were all being civil and having a good time when my granddaughter ran to Ryan and thanked him for painting fairies on her dresser. My ex didn't think much of it until a couple of parents approached my son, asking if he could paint stuff for their children and that they'd be willing to pay. Ex said, "This kid's no painter, he's an athlete." Ryan said, "Why can't I be both?" My ex was taken aback and looked at me for help, but I shrugged and said that Ryan wasn't wrong. Why can't he? Ryan then said, "Don't worry, I'm still a man. I know you genuinely believe this, considering you have the mentality of a dumb high school jock, but painting won't magically make me a woman." A few people started laughing, and some rolled their eyes at my ex, who kept looking at me for help. Eventually, people moved on, but my ex pulled me aside and asked me if I thought his embarrassment was funny. I said, yeah, and he got red in the face and called me an idiot for letting our son speak to him like that and embarrass him in front of everyone. I told him to grow up and realize that he deserved the comments. He just told me that Ryan and I better apologize to him and explain to all the guests that Ryan didn't mean anything, or else. I do not think I'm the idiot, but my parents think Ryan was being disrespectful and should have just left it off with, "Why can't I do both?" instead of insulting his father. They also said I was immature for not stopping this. They don't like my ex, so saying I'm the idiot and not him makes me doubt myself. Also, my ex looks miserable. Am I the idiot? Some clarity. My ex and I had Ryan and an older daughter together. My granddaughter is my daughter's child. Not the idiot. Your son has talent and passions, and good parents will allow their child to flourish and embrace it. You let your son speak up for himself and advocate for his passions and hobbies, which is really healthy and good. Plus, I think it would have been more embarrassing to try and stop him mid-sentence. Your ex sounds jealous of your son. He's so scared of being embarrassed that he won't try anything or let anyone around him put effort into things. Serves him right. Maybe he'll start being embarrassed about being a misogynist idiot instead of embarrassed about his son learning skills that he doesn't have. I don't think your ex understands what ex means. It isn't your job to protect his precious feelings. If your son's about to be 18, your ex also needs to come to terms with the fact that he will be an adult and cannot be punished. Come to think of it, no wonder he acted like a toddler. He can't control either of you. I married a widower 15 years ago. He had 2 young children when we met, and we married after 2 years. Ever since our marriage began, it has been clear that I was not being asked to be the kids' mom, but a spouse for my husband, which I was fine with, though I had hoped that my husband would be open to the kids seeing me that way if they came around. He has mentioned throughout the years that his first wife had made her wishes for them not to be adopted by a new wife after her death, and for mom to be her title alone. He told me he would always honor that, and that she never wanted to be forgotten, and left letters and videos we shared with the kids over the years. I've often wondered if some of what she wrote has made the kids feel like they would be wrong to love me, or leaves them with guilt, trying to be close to me because they do not treat me as a parent or like a step-parent who's been present for them before they could even remember. It's hard. My husband will say they care for me, but always says I could never be their mom, which was never on the table. He said his first wife would have haunted him if he had replaced her for them. The kids are now 20 and 21, and it still feels like I'm an outsider. It feels very much like I come after my husband's first wife. My daughter with my husband also suffers because of this. She doesn't have a close relationship with her siblings at all. If anything, it's like she doesn't exist to them any more than I do. My oldest stepchild recently announced that they're going to be a parent, and it was said that their mom wouldn't have wanted me to be a grandma. I don't know why it bothered me so much. Maybe it was coming from my husband and my stepchild, but I told them all that I was tired of my feelings coming after my husband's first wife. They're all still mad at me for saying that. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Don't buy anything for the baby. Don't do anything for the pregnant mother. Don't do any babysitting. I don't understand why you stayed. If you aren't the mom or grandma, don't take on the responsibilities of those roles. Instead, focus on the child who does see you as a mom. At least tell us you haven't been buying them gifts or going out of your way to care for them and help them. In general, it's crappy that he married you and created this antagonistic relationship. It's crappy that a dying woman forbade her family from having a maternal relationship with someone else. But again, it's not what was best for the kids. And now the kids think they must continue shutting you out to honor their mother. I blame their father for that. I think 17 years is long enough to be understanding about this. I feel so bad for OP. For kids that young, she 100% could have been a loving mother figure. Good grief, you're not the idiot, OP, but your husband is an awful idiot. I get he was trying to honor his first wife, but the disrespect he's shown you in the process is appalling. Without wishing to disrespect your marriage, it sounds as if he just wanted a live-in nanny or housekeeper with benefits, rather than a wife and family member. Your life sounds exhausting, and if I were you, I would be very tempted to put 2 fingers up at the lot of them and go off with your daughter. Last year, several members of our family got a message from a person who said they were my aunt's child that she had given up for adoption when she was 20. This was a total surprise to all of us because my aunt had never mentioned it. It had happened when she was in another state for college and didn't physically see anyone for 2 years. We then discovered that this person had been harassing my aunt to introduce them to the rest of the family against my aunt's wishes. My aunt is a quiet, kind person who is married with 2 children. She'd been promised that it would be a closed adoption and that she didn't want to be contacted in the future. But this person had tracked both her and the biological father down themselves. And in both situations, after the birth, parents requested not to be involved. They messaged the extended family. The biological father is now going through a divorce, while my aunt's in-laws have turned against her completely. Her marriage is strained because of this, even though her husband knew about the adoption. Unfortunately, this person has had a tough childhood and now seems to want to integrate into our family instead. This has caused big issues. The main one is my 80-year-old grandmother giving this person large sums of money she can't afford because of the guilt she feels. My aunt had a complete breakdown one day and requested that we cut off contact with this person and that she was being harassed by them, basically demanding a mother-child relationship. So most of my family has decided to block this person. I feel terrible that their life wasn't great, but my aunt gave them up for adoption for what she hoped was a better life, and having this person harass her and show up to family events wasn't what she agreed to. My grandmother and another estranged aunt are still in contact with this person, while everyone else has blocked them. I have as well. Am I the idiot? This person messaged me from a different Facebook account, saying my family was cruel to cut them off as we did. I feel very guilty about it. Not the idiot. It would be your aunt's choice whether or not to welcome the kid into the family. She's moved on with her life and doesn't want a relationship with the child she gave up. And that's her right, and you should respect that. Sucks for the girl, but the one who should be making this decision has made it. As someone who was adopted, not the idiot, if she wanted to contact the bio parents and ask for a relationship, that's one thing. But to try and manipulate a relationship out of them is absurd and disrespectful. It was a closed adoption, so the most she should have done is sent a letter inquiring and leave it at that. Your aunt said no, and I'm sure this is traumatizing for her. Good for supporting her. You are the idiot. I feel very guilty about it. Then why act that way? Your aunt didn't want to be reminded of a difficult part of her past. That's fine. It's not a secret anymore though, and you blocking this person, trying to deny that he exists, won't put the genie back in the bottle. Your relationship with this cousin should be between the two of you. There's no reason to flaunt it in front of your aunt or advocate for her to change her mind. You can just be an upstanding person to your cousin. My husband, 30, and I, 27 female, have been together for 3 years and married for 5 months. Our relationship has been problem-free until the week before our wedding. My husband was very close friends with a woman, let's call her Ava, that he's known since they were sophomores in high school. I never had a problem with Ava. I thought it was obvious that she and my husband were just friends. I mean, she had a long-term boyfriend and all, so I felt no jealousy or anything. I got along with Ava pretty well. We all hung out together regularly. But then my husband dropped a bombshell on me the week before we married. I remembered he sat me down and told me that Ava revealed to him that she had feelings for him and tried to convince him not to get married to me. She even broke up with her boyfriend of 6 years to prove that she was serious about my husband. My husband and I both agreed to cut her off. We uninvited her to our wedding, and neither of us have been in contact with her since. It was my husband's 30th birthday yesterday. He just wanted to have dinner with family and friends, so we did that. So we're all in a restaurant eating when all of a sudden, Ava walks in. She walks to our table and says she didn't mean to intrude, that she was getting dinner by herself and then saw us. She then wishes my husband a happy birthday. I expected her to leave, but then my husband asked her if she wanted to join us. I look at my husband like, what the heck are you doing? I'm visibly uncomfortable and irritated. I stand up and tell Ava that she can have my seat, and then I walk out and get an Uber home because I want absolutely nothing to do with her. When my husband came home almost 2 hours later, he immediately started arguing with me He tells me I overreacted and acted immaturely. I asked him why he asked Ava to eat with us, because I thought we were on the same page. He replies that he was just being nice, and he didn't think it would be a big deal because it's been a long time since he's seen her, so she probably doesn't have feelings for him anymore. And then he tells me that I ruined his birthday. I'm still upset about it all. I don't think I'm the one in the wrong. I mean, this woman tried to steal my partner. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. What a coincidence that Ava happens to go to the same restaurant. I don't get your husband's logic here. So he disinvited her to his wedding, but offered her to sit down and have dinner when she wasn't invited? There's something off here. You said it was a family dinner? If your husband didn't tip her off, one of his family members did. If Ava does come back into your lives, it must be on your terms as well as his. He doesn't get to decide this one unilaterally. I would remind your husband that this is a boundary you set, and he needs to understand that choosing you doesn't end at the wedding. Well, he's obviously cheating with her, so I guess he had to tell her where the birthday dinner's happening, or he's been in touch with BFF since the wedding. She's convinced him that she doesn't have feelings for him anymore and told him that she should just show up at the restaurant to make it look like it just happened like magic. In any case, I think OP's marriage will not last. I want to give your hubby the benefit of the doubt and say he's just dumb to invite a woman that tried to talk him out of marrying you to sit at your table. Maybe he felt pressured because family and friends that knew her, but might not know why she had been uninvited to the wedding were present. However, he didn't stop you from walking out. He didn't try to go after you. He didn't call or text to check on you. He stayed out for 2 freaking hours, and then he has the sheer audacity to come home and yell at you for your behavior. It's been 5 months, not 5 years since the wedding. Your husband is delusional if he thinks she's genuinely gotten over him and his behavior was appropriate. Husband might be dense, but it's more concerning that he didn't check in with you. You might want to reconsider your marriage. His relationship with that other woman is still suspect. How he treated you was outright disrespectful at the table and completely uncaring afterward, followed by a huge scoop of gaslighting you when he got home. None of this is healthy. I've 25 female, been best friends with Lisa, 25 female, since I was a little kid. We met in kindergarten and the rest is history. When we were 18, Lisa began dating my older brother, James, 27 male. I'll admit when it happened, I was not happy. My brother's never been good to women, and I was worried about my friend. I also admit I was childish and didn't want to share her. However, Lisa gave me an ultimatum of accepting this or losing her anyway, so I accepted. For a while, it seemed really great. They dated all throughout Lisa and my college years. They were sweet and talking about marriage. Then out of the blue, James dumped Lisa. He didn't explain. A few months later, he brought Allison, 27 female, around. I can't prove there was overlap, but based on the way they celebrate anniversaries, it couldn't have been more than a week gap. Allison instantly began causing problems. As I said, I've known Lisa since I was a kid, and ever since her parents died, she spent all major holidays with us. Allison thought that this was unacceptable and disrespectful. My brother sided with her and threatened to stop attending. In response, I threatened to celebrate with Lisa alone. My brother folded, but this has been a constant argument. Now the recent problem. Lisa's getting married. I'm really excited and have been really busy as the maid of honor. Of course, our whole family plans to attend and have been talking about it a ton. Well, Allison has recently announced that she's pregnant. My parents are delighted and very excited, though still very busy with Lisa's wedding. However, they've tried to help in any way possible. Unfortunately, Allison called them unsupportive, and to prove it, went about doing a test. She's setting her baby shower on the same day as the wedding and making it clear anyone who can't attend the baby shower isn't allowed to see her child. My parents are devastated. They play huge roles in Lisa's wedding, but of course they want a relationship with their grandchild. I refused to attend the baby shower, and I told my parents if they chose to go, I won't speak to them again. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She specifically chose a date she knew would cause issues. You need to talk to your brother about it and see if he can smooth the way to not causing drama within the family. He's knowingly allowing this to unfold and cause issues between your family, and that makes him guilty in it as well. Allison seems like a bad and insecure person. Why should you not prioritize someone who's acted almost like a sister for most of your life? Weddings are a once-in-a-lifetime thing and cannot be moved. On the other hand, the baby shower can very easily be moved to another day. However, don't get your parents into this. That's their grandchild after all, and they should care. Agree, you'll be the idiot if you give an ultimatum to your parents. They already have one painful person causing them stress, and they don't need more of it. Missing out on a grandkid cannot be an easy decision. This chick is trying to emotionally manipulate you guys and control you to do whatever she wants to do. It's not going to stop there. Enjoy the wedding. Ignore Allison and your brother if needed. The real idiot is your brother for allowing his child to be used for this blackmail, and obviously Allison. My friend has informed me that my wife seems to have a lot of body confidence occasionally. She posts many photos on Instagram in dresses, crop tops, and now that it's summer, swimsuits. I've never had a problem with it. I think most girls in their mid-20s do the same thing. But my friend has been making weird remarks to me about her post since we got married. He says her posts are too provocative for a married woman and that she's putting herself online like a single woman. He also points out that most married women do not post photos as she does, and his wife would never disrespect him by posting photos like this. I brought it up to my wife once, and she just laughed and said he was weird. So I agreed and haven't said anything about it to her since. Recently, a group of us got together at the lake. My wife wore what I considered normal attire, a bikini, but my friend thought differently. He commented in front of us guys about her butt being out and asked me if she just liked to make everyone uncomfortable and have people stare at her. And of course, he brought it back around to his wife, saying how she dresses respectfully in front of other guys. I think his wife had a one-piece bathing suit on, but wore a cover-up most of the time we were there. My wife wasn't wearing a thong bathing suit bottom, so I honestly don't know what his deal was. There were other girls there in two pieces besides her. I had honestly had enough of his incessant comments about my wife and how he was continually comparing her to his more conservatively dressed wife. So I said, "Your wife dresses like that because she can't pull off a swimsuit. Stop fixating on my wife, bro. It's getting old fast." I know his wife hadn't caused anything and probably didn't deserve that, but it got him to shut up. We actually haven't talked since then, to which I don't really care. We'll probably run into each other the next time we have a friend throw an outing though. I do feel like his wife didn't deserve that, even if she didn't know I said it. So I'm wondering if I'm an idiot. I don't really want to apologize to him before he apologizes for all of his comments. Edit. His wife was not around when I said this. It was just a group of guys. Everyone's the idiot here. Well, the husbands are. You should have stood up for your wife and not insulted his. Also, I find it comically naive how OP doesn't get why this guy only singled out his wife, even though other women were also in two pieces. Newsflash, dude, your friend is hot for your wife and blaming that fact on her. Exactly. Instead of OP telling off this guy for stalking his wife's social media pages, obsessing over her in public, and constantly judging her appearance, he instead jabs at his innocent wife? That's a crap move. Instead, I would have called out this sexist crap for gawking at OP's wife every chance he gets. Stop objectifying women's bodies. You are all freaking idiots. He started, but you just had to go there with him. His behavior was the problem. Why not concentrate on the problem rather than drag innocent bystanders into the fray? You were not the idiot until you had to treat a human being as an object to be hurled at your opponent like a rock. Now you're both idiots, and the problem is still not solved. I, female 25, have been with my husband, 27, for 5 years, and we've been married for 1 year. We discussed early on that neither of us desires to have children and have been on that same page the entire time we've been together. Today we went to see his family to celebrate birthdays. We were chatting with his parents, brother, and uncle. That's all of his family. And we got on the topic of children. As we were talking about the fact that we would not be having children, something we've made clear in the past, my husband suddenly said, "You never know, we might have a baby. We could change our minds." I just looked at him and said that if he wanted to have a baby, he needed to figure out how to give birth to it himself. I can admit this was a little harsh. However, his mom could tell we were both irritated, so she pulled me aside later to say that they don't expect us to have children and they support that decision. My husband was irritated with this response. I think he was embarrassed that I said this in front of his dad. Later, he said that I was rude, and even though he never wants children, that he doesn't want to make it seem like such a sure thing because he and his brother are the ends of the family. His brother's single, but has expressed to my husband and me that he does not plan to have children either. I reacted like this because in my job, I work with a lot of older people, and I'm told at least weekly that I'll probably change my mind as I mature and decide I want to have children. This is really frustrating, and I tell my husband every time it happens. It was also shocking to hear my partner say something that contradicts what we've agreed on for the past 5 years. I don't necessarily think he was an idiot for making that comment with his family, but I felt undermined. As soon as we got home, we started fighting about this, and he thinks I should have just gone along with it, since it's his family and not mine, rather than standing my ground on something I feel very strongly about. So, am I the idiot for responding to him like that and embarrassing him in front of his dad? Not the idiot. Unfortunately, it doesn't sound like you're on the same page, no matter what he said after the fight was over. "You never know, and we could change our minds," are things that fence sitters say. Him saying both of these things in front of his family is undercutting you and putting you on notice. If his parents aren't putting any pressure on the two of you to have kids, he has no reason to lie about it unless he actually has changed his mind, which is something he should talk about with you privately because you had both previously agreed to not having any kids. It's very telling that mother-in-law is the one who told OP she doesn't have to have children, while brother-in-law and father-in-law were insisting on it too. Hubby needs to grow a spine regarding his family and take back the go along with it comment. Encouraging now will make it worse when you're in your 30s and haven't had kids yet. OP, your husband basically stabbed you in the back in this conversation. As a child-free person myself, I would be livid if my partner dropped this crap in front of his parents. It's a typical play stupid game situation. He should have kept his mouth shut if he didn't want you to respond. Also, he's wrong. He's your husband. This isn't only his family, it's yours too now. That's how marriages usually work. My wife's making this a bigger deal than it needs to be. My wife, 48, and I, 48, married when we were 22 and had 5 kids, male and female 25, female 22, male 19. The 5th, toddler female one, was a surprise. Our other children are adults. For the majority of their lives, I was the stay-at-home parent. I cooked, cleaned, attended games, etc. From the moment they came home from the hospital, all up until their mid-teens, where I deemed them old enough to stay home by themselves. As usual, I quit my job and had been watching her at home, but 8 months ago, my wife came to me and said she'd like to quit her job and watch our daughter. I was skeptical because she had never done it before, but she's her mother, and I assumed she could handle it as I did. Well, she hasn't been handling it well at all. Whenever I come home from work, the bathroom is a mess. There's no dinner cooked. Our daughter's a mess, and my wife is just watching TV. Then after I tidy up the house, cook dinner, which I don't mind, I've been doing it for 25 plus years, and get ready for bed, she complains about being a stay-at-home mom is hard. Personally, I think she's lazy, and I voice my thoughts. She tried to tell me it was different, but I told her it was not. I could watch the twins with little to no difficulty up until they were 14. I watched our 3rd and 4th child with no hassle either. I had the house cleaned, the food ready, the kids clean, homework done, went to their games, school meetings, etc. I never asked for help and sucked it up because I was a dad. For her to have so much trouble watching a toddler is ridiculous. She's been silent with me since that conversation, but when I came home from work, the house was actually clean, food was cooked, and our daughter was clean. I'm starting to feel like the idiot because maybe it's different for women, but how can raising children be so difficult and different for us? I'm only going not the idiot here because unlike most stories I see like this, you've actually been a stay-at-home parent, so you know what it entails and have been able to do it. It sounds like you made it look easy, so she thought she wouldn't have to do much work at all. Yeah, look, he's extremely competent in this area. I would struggle with one child, let alone 4. That being said, it's not a competition. It's a team sport. And also, pregnancy messes up your body. I can't imagine what pregnancy at 45 must be like. Still, it has been several years. It sounds like she wanted an early retirement to me and was disappointed when she learned being a stay-at-home parent is work. Yes, or maybe she thought that she'd never get the chance to stay at home with the kids, and now that they're old too. It's unfortunate, but as you get older, things do get harder. You can't compare being a parent at 20-something to be the same when you're at 50. Get her checked for PPD, because who knows if she specifically asked not to go back to work because she's depressed. It's a tough job, especially when you don't have the energy anymore. Update. We argued back and forth for a while, with her saying that she still needs time to adjust. I'm shaming her, it's different from others. I brought up hiring help and she quickly shot this down, becoming irritated that I suggested she needed help taking care of her home and her child. I apologized for calling her lazy, but then she broke down crying. My wife admits that being a stay-at-home mom was something she didn't think she'd be good at, but she desperately wanted to be here to raise our daughter because she wasn't there for our other kids. She said that when I was raising the children, I made it seem so easy because everything was neat and the children were happy and orderly. I asked her if she was possibly going through depression, but she assured me she was not. But we decided we should attend couples therapy and some individual therapy for her. I asked if she enjoyed being with our daughter at home, and she admitted that being able to spend all this time with her was refreshing and possibly the happiest she's ever been. She promised that she'd do her part and keep the house tidy. I'm glad we were able to get this out in the open.